If his point is he wanted to call attention to it, sure. If it's worth getting arrested, sure. As anyone's attorney, I would have told them, you follow the time and the place designation, and here I thought they were totally reasonable. This is a community-supported legal education channel. Find out how you can support our mission at the links in the description below. So, it's July 4th weekend. Do you know where Joey Johnson is? You might remember that we spoke about Joey Johnson in the civil rights lawsuit that we covered from the 2016 Republican National Convention, where he burned a flag and was arrested by the city police, by the Cleveland City Police. Well, we did an interview with him last Wednesday and published it for July 4th. Since he's such a historical figure, I wanted to see how extreme are these views. Flag burning seems like such an extreme thing, and certainly the president and certainly many people, citizens of the United States and even the world, have voiced opinions on a broad spectrum, from a broad spectrum of perspectives on whether flag burning is freedom of speech or whether flag burning is desecration of something sacred to the national interests of the country, or just sort of the culture of patriotism that, in some people's opinion, should be something that we're all held to some kind of standard about. I don't necessarily agree with all the positions that Joey Johnson takes, but was a very interesting interview, and I do encourage you to go watch that. Well, he did burn his flag in front of the White House on July 4th, and he was arrested for it. Now, this is complicated. We don't know all of the facts, so I thought we could look into this just a little bit this morning and see if we could figure out what's going on here. So Secret Service allegedly arrested him at approximately 5:30 p.m. July 4th. Uniformed division officers of the Secret Service, which means this is not the secret part of the Secret Service. This is rather the police force that operates near the White House or operates near political figures and things and protects politicians, etc. Why is it called the Secret Service? I'd actually like to know that. Maybe we can look that up and bring that up on screen or something for the edit. But this is the not so secret part of the Secret Service. This is the Uniformed Police Officer Division. Okay, so this is basically regular police. They're just working for the Department of Secret Service, okay? Now, yes, they're Secret Service officers. I'm not trying to diminish their service or their education or their qualifications. I'm not saying that. They're qualified to be Secret Service. They're just not the secret part of the Secret Service, is all I'm saying. The Uniformed Division officers responded to an incident on Pennsylvania Avenue. An individual burned an American flag outside the limits of a permit that had been issued by the National Park Service. Well, what does that tell us? That tells us that a permit was issued, which is what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to get a permit for certain kinds of protests. Usually a protest involving over a number of people should be planned out in advance, and local ordinances will say that. And there are Supreme Court cases that have established that you must get a permit, and the permit must be given freely. And I'm not even sure the permit can really have much of a charge, like a fee to it. But there are allowed to be limitations, not on the speech, but on the time and place and manner of the speech. My understanding was that he was allowed to burn the flag in a park near the White House as long as he had, I believe, a fire extinguisher and a burn pit. And you'll see in a moment, that is not how the flag was burned. Yeah. Now, is that a reasonable limitation on freedom of speech? We can go over that. I actually meant to go over that case today, but we run out of time. So I want this to be more of a highlight, and we'll go over the freedom of speech case that established the time and place requirements in another video. So here it says 2 individuals were arrested, one for felony assault on a police officer and malicious burning, the other for obstructing a police investigation and resisting arrest. So I don't know who the second individual was, but I'm guessing that Joey Johnson was the first individual. I'm guessing that Joey Johnson was the flag burner and therefore is the one accused of malicious burning and felony assault on a police officer. Now, I don't know where the felony assault on a police officer comes from. We're going to look at their live stream in just a moment, and we'll see whether that actually happened or not. One individual was transported to a local hospital for minor injuries. Another was transported to MPD 2nd District for processing. 2 officers with the Secret Service Uniform Division received minor injuries while attempting to make arrests and were transported to a local hospital for treatment. So there's the frame. That is the characterization from the U.S. Secret Service. And then we have the video of what actually happened. This is from the Twitter account of, I believe, the Revcom, from the Revolutionary Communists. So I'm not presenting it as anything in favor of their views or anything. Rather, this is more of just sort of a first-hand record of what happened. No, we are not going to go over the whole video. I'm going to fast forward through parts of it.
All right, we are live here.
So they're in front of the White House, and this guy's doing his live stream announcement, more or less. It's not until further into the video that anyone actually shows up. But you can see here, they're in front of the White House. And there's a bunch of people. This is obviously not a place that has been cordoned off, ready for a flag burning with a burning pit and a fire extinguisher and everything. You can see there are lots of electronic news gathering people. There are some people in red hats, Make America Great Again t-shirt and all that. Not saying there's anything wrong with it, just saying there's lots of people around, and there are also political opponents of Joey Johnson's. So here you're gonna see they come marching in.
Slavery, genocide, and war.
5, 6, 7, 8.
America was never great.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Slavery, genocide, and war.
Now, once again, I'm not espousing anyone's views. I'm also not entirely disagreeing. Let me just explain for a second. I interviewed Joey Johnson and came to the conclusion at the end of the interview and after some thought afterward that as extreme as his behavior seems, it stops there. Like, let's acknowledge for a moment that the guy might march, his black-shirted individual, his Revcom, shirts into the White House area and burn a flag. But that's it. Like, that's what the guy does. Like, he's not, I don't see anything else going on here. And what is he doing it to call attention to? That was the point of my interview. I didn't want to know, like, why are you so extreme? I wanted to know what he stands for. Sorry, I'm hitting my desk again, editor. So what does he stand for? He believes, in my opinion, I'm summarizing his, he can tell you differently. Go watch the full 46-minute interview and determine for yourself. But in my humble opinion, he believes that the United States is not doing its part as a world citizen and a leader on the world stage. And he is pretty much perpetually in disagreement with the United States policies towards its worldwide neighbors. And this is how his activism manifests itself. And if you ask me, I don't think there's anything wrong with his activism. I think it stopped where it stopped, and as long as he does the flag burning properly at the designated time and place that he got a permit for, and in the burning pit with a fire extinguisher, I think that's perfectly reasonable. I don't know what anybody else thinks, but I think that's perfectly reasonable. But let's continue here and just see what actually happens. And it might be the Secret Service is completely correct, but let's see what the video shows actually happened. So they continue marching in. There's going to be a little bit of a protest first. They have some kind of a speaker system, and there's Joey Johnson speaking into a microphone, and you can see the guy in the green shirt here has the rolled up flag. Now Joey Johnson holds the flag between his legs, lights it on fire. It goes up pretty quick, and then all of a sudden someone does not appear that the video cuts. Someone grabs the flag, the red-shirted guy. Remember there was the red-shirted guy from before? That's this guy here. He grabs the flag and puts it out. And editor, if we could bleep that. This guy just charged at them again. There's a bit of a fight, a bit of a scuffle, a bunch of yelling. I've muted it here for your just, because I'm assuming you don't really want, okay, here's a Secret Service person finally. They're still yelling.
America was never great. America was never great. America was
Joey's pretty loud, but otherwise it seems non-violent at least.
1, 2, 3, 4. Slavery, genocide, and war. 5, 6.
Now, is this part resisting arrest? Maybe, I don't know. I've always had trouble with calling protesters who are just trying to keep protesting, you know, calling them resisting arrest. But he did potentially have a... See, okay, and there's the red-shirted guy taunting them with the burned flag that he now has in his possession. Well, let's keep going here. Okay, so now here comes Secret Service.
Standing with the people of the world today.
Get some pictures. Did you get some pictures?
Standing with the people of the world today.
What do you not understand about the street being closed? It's not that difficult.
Okay, so they closed the street. Secret Service closed the street.
On the sidewalk.
I just want to say I haven't even seen anybody attempt to arrest anybody yet.
I think it's coming.
Let's move. Let's move. Let's move. Other side of the table. Move.
Oh, there goes the flag again. There. Okay, there we go. I see it now.
Let's go. Get on. Get on. Get on. Get on.
Yep. They managed to relight the flag, and that's where the trouble happened. I didn't know there was a second flag. All right, so now it's an interesting... Let's see if we can mute this here. Just turn it down a little bit. Now it's an interesting position that they've put themselves in. Because remember Roe v. Wade, and remember how we've gone over that there were previous candidates for the Roe v. Wade lawsuit that went up to the Supreme Court and established abortion rights. This is no longer a clean situation. We've just gone back a little bit. They're clearing out. You can see, okay, hang on, let's pause it for a second. I don't know if I can go back a frame or two. You can see what appears to be a second flag.
Yeah.
You can see what appears to be, I don't know if my cursor shows up here, but there seems to be a second flag on the right side of the screen, the red thing in Joey's hand.
Yeah, the backup flag.
So they've closed the street. Yeah, I'm guessing the flags had accelerant on it.
Yeah.
So now hang on a sec. Let's be clear here. It looks like there's no there's no one near them anymore. That everyone has left them alone. Not that this is what's supposed to be happening. The street's closed. Secret Service comes back. This guy's got a fire extinguisher. Flag goes up. This other guy had a different guy with a fire extinguisher puts it out. But yeah, there were Secret Service agents there when the flag went up. Could someone have gotten burned? Could that be considered assault? Maybe. You'll hear testimony, I'm sure. It'll be a big controversy because everyone on Joey's side is likely going to be maintaining that this was a free speech protest and they have every right to burn a flag. And everybody on the other side is going to be saying, well, you didn't have a right to burn a flag there. That you didn't have the right to burn a flag at that particular location and time. You're supposed to be in the park with a burn pit and a fire extinguisher, and that would have been permissible and maybe even protected by the Secret Service. Not that they have a duty to protect your flag burning activities, but rather they do want to keep the peace. And if you have a permit to burn the flag and you're doing it peacefully, and there we go. There's a struggle. Let's go back and see that and see what's happening.
It did look like there was a Secret Service dude, like, right where the flag went.
So everybody's left. I don't see Joey. They're in the middle of arresting Joey, probably. Yeah, that's probably what they're doing. Is they're trying to arrest him, and he is resisting. Let's see what we see. It does look like Joey on the ground.
That's Joey.
But you can at least see that this is freaking chaos for the Secret Service.
Yeah.
I at least have some feeling, some sympathy for the Secret Service having to deal with this. However, it does not nullify. I am 100% on board with Joey's right to free speech and burning the flag in the designated place in the burn pit with the fire extinguisher. Well, the resisting, I don't know, but I didn't see the resisting part. Maybe he resisted and then got 5 cops on top of him. And there's another RevCom protester back there. So it's 2 RevCom protesters that were arrested. They're chanting, "Let him go." They eventually do close off the area, arrest the second protester, and there's a speech that you guys can go watch it for yourself. They form another ring of protection while they're showing their materials, and people are upset. But it's Washington, D.C., and if you wanted to, do this kind of thing, this is the place to do it. So that's what happened there. And no, that does not look to me like Joey Johnson was burning the flag in the permitted time and place and area, which to me, I think that's perfectly reasonable. Not only do we have case law that says you can have time and place limits on protests, flag burning involves an accelerant on a flag near people who have hair and other things that can burn.
Yes.
Burns are not fun. So I think it was perfectly reasonable for him to have to burn the flag in the park. I'd like to figure out which park. I don't remember which one's Lafayette Park. Could someone bring up?
It looks like he was supposed to be a bit further north, and he was on Pennsylvania Avenue, which is technically outside of Lafayette Square. Lafayette Park.
Well, where's the White House in relation to that? Oh, here's the White House. Oh, it is. Lafayette Square is right across from the White House.
Yeah.
So he wouldn't have been in front of the White House on Pennsylvania Avenue here. I don't know if you guys can see my cursor, but he would have been permitted. So
I think that whole square is Lafayette Park.
If I had been Joey Johnson's attorney, I would have counseled him to do all of everything that he did up to the burning part. And instead of burning there, just march over to Lafayette Square, put down his burn pit that would have been delivered by somebody. He has enough people, somebody would have delivered it, and put down his burn pit, burned the flag in the burn pit. We burned our flag in the burn pit. Ours was not in protest, but rather the responsible and respectful way to retire a flag. So, believe it or not, Joey Johnson and I are both flag burners.
There's a perfect spot to do it as well.
Yeah, they really... it would have received much... It would have been so much easier to defend his activities if he had done it in the proper place in Lafayette Square or whatever. Now, I'm sure there's more details to come out. Maybe it's not that simple. Maybe there were more reasons why he had to do it there. But the first flag didn't seem to hurt anybody. No big deal. And I think the Secret Service would have let everybody go. The second flag was just an FU. That was more than that was unnecessary. Did it get attention? Sure. If his point is he wanted to call attention to it, sure. If it's worth getting arrested, sure. As anyone's attorney, I would have told them you follow the time and the place designation. And here, I thought they were totally reasonable. They have to be reasonable. The law is that it has to be a reasonable time and place designation and not, you can protest, but you've got to protest 3 miles outside city limits or something. So I'm with Joey all the way. And I even agree with his belief that the United States has not done its part as a citizen of the world to support the people of the world. However, I stop short of revolutionary communism and all that. I'm much more moderate in my political beliefs. However, I think that just because a person has red beliefs or blue beliefs or whatever doesn't mean that we disregard their beliefs. We look at their beliefs and decide which ones are good and which ones are bad from our perspective. And I'm totally with him on some of the things that he said, and not so much on some of the other things. And I'm against not burning the flag in the designated time and place in a burn pit with a fire extinguisher in Lafayette Square, which was right across from the White House anyway.
Yeah, he could have stood in the middle like in the grassy area just south of the middle of the square, and I'm literally in Street View on Google Maps right now, and it's got a great view of the White House, and he would have been within his permit.
Yeah, let's do that. That's a good point. Let's do that.
There's a bunch of Street View 360
If he is, yeah, if he's somewhere here in Lafayette Square, you know, here's the center of Lafayette Square, and then there's the White House. So he would have been allowed to bring a burn pit, keep the thing confined to the burn pit. He could have had everybody around the circle doing their chants and protecting the burn pit. It would have been pretty much just as effective. I don't know. Yeah. Pretty much just as effective. You tell us in the comments, wow, I will probably do everything up to burning the flag in order to protest the policies of the government. I just don't equate the policies of the government with automatically equating to American values. Like, I can look past the people I disagree with and still agree that I'm an American, and still believe that the flag stands for something good and something that the people died for, that good people died for. And I don't want to tarnish their name by burning the flag disrespectfully myself. However, I don't have any problem whatsoever with Joey Johnson using the burning of the flag as a protest to call attention to the injustices that he sees in the world and the United States. I think that's perfectly reasonable. And technically, isn't it more patriotic to want to improve your country by looking inward self-critically and saying, we think there's too many incarcerated people, or we think there's an immigration problem or not, et cetera, et cetera? Isn't that criticality, that self-criticality, good for the country? And wouldn't that be considered patriotic or a positive American value? Anyway, that's all I have to say about that. That is our show, everyone. Thank you very much for joining me today. We will produce these videos into the stories that will drop on YouTube this week. We thank you very much for your support, because YouTube has a habit of regularly demonetizing our videos, and it has cut our production profits by a lot, by over 2/3. And we now have Tactical on staff helping us on the law side and occasionally helping us on the YouTube side. And Brandon is on Lawful Masses staff. He gets paid for editing the videos. And so we have financial obligations every month. Our legal news service that allows us to access these stories and documents and things easily is $1,200 a year, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So we have some expenses on our end, and YouTube keeps messing with the demonetization. For example, the Joey Johnson story, we put out 2 videos. One is just an extended version of the other. The extended version is fully monetized and confirmed. The shorter version is fully demonetized and confirmed. That makes no sense. They're both the exact same video. One is just longer. So that makes no sense. Anyway, so support us on sponsors.org/law or patreon.com/ljfrench. Thank you very much to our supporters in the month of July. We have a $500 supporter this month, Joshua Davis from TandaPay. We're going to be doing a video about his social insurance program. It's really interesting. It's based on blockchain technology, and it's really, really interesting, and we're going to try and figure out if there's a way we can get this idea to stick in people's heads. I think that's what he's fighting now, is trying to get the idea, because there's too many complicated things to it. Social insurance, what's that? Blockchain, you're going to add that into it, and now people just put it out of their minds. So Joshua Davis from TandaPay, we thank you for your support, and we're looking forward to doing your video on your social insurance program. Thank you also to the $50 plus supporters, John Steele, Gavin Barnard, Kyle Mudrak, Eevi, Michael Pearce, Richard Fournier, Spirit Bear, Jan Negrey, Daniel Perez, and Snorre Wisotzky. And thank you to the $5 plus supporters who are also scrolling on the LED panel above me, and all of you will be in the description of the videos below. I am Leonard French. I am your favorite copyright attorney, and I will leave some room here for super slow-mo dog video and any other dog video that we've got here, because we shot, I don't know, an hour's worth of dog pool party video between regular slow-mo, like 60 frames per second, and then slowing that down. And then we did some 1080p, I think it was 480 frames per second or 240 frames per second, super slow-mo, and then slowed that down to its 60 frames per second equivalent, and made a whole video for you, and we're going to drop parts of that in the various videos. I think I even dropped some of that today in the video I dropped this morning.
Yes,
so,
it is.
Anyway, Love you all. See you next time. I'm Leonard French, your favorite copyright attorney. This has been Kaylee here in the studio with us, and Brandon has been in the virtual studio. Thank you all for coming. Love you all, and I'll see you later. Bye.